I don't think there's going to be any more like advanced.
Okay. I gotta get this host thing figured out for Zoom because it's add-on. Yeah, we just gotta get that figured out. We'll get that squared away. Yeah, I think so. Maybe we'll just revisit it then again too. You're gonna be same content? Okay. All right, we'll do that.
Okay, so I'm gonna make this loop name. I'm just gonna do my name because I'm the buyer. We're gonna do a buyer loop right now. So I'm gonna make it my name. And then this is the loop template. So within that loop, like Chris was saying earlier, we have template loops already created for you guys that have all of the documents that you will need for an offer. So a KHG buyer is for an agent on the Kathy Helbig group team. Paula is an ERP agent, so she's ERP team, but not Kathy Helbig group. So she would use the ERP. And really the only difference within those loops, they contain the exact same information as far as document wise and things like that. But the sales contract on page 9 is populated differently. So on the KHG, it has Experienced Realty Partners as the brokerage. It has the brokerage license number, and then it has Kathy's MLS ID because everything goes under her MLS ID. The only difference between that and an ERP agent is the ERP agent uses their own MLS ID. So that is essentially the only difference. So if you accidentally click the ERP buyer loop, it's okay. You just have to remember to enter in Kathy's MLS ID, okay? But if you select the KHG, it's already pre-populated for you, okay? And KHG, ERP, we all use the same listing docs, same listing packet, everything. So you're good there. New construction, you still have a loop for new construction, and then you can build your own, but it just doesn't have all of the documents in it. So I think it would kind of be null and void as to why you would want to build your own, just in case you want practice. I don't know. But anyway, so we're going to use the KHG buyer loop, and then we're going to hit continue. You can upload a photo. It goes nowhere. Nobody sees it. It's not really, it's irrelevant to the loop. Yeah. So.
Sorry.
No, you're fine.
I'm recording on here. I'm pointing it at your screen there.
Oh, yeah. So here's my loop. Okay. So it has a purchase. This is a buyer. If it was a listing, you can go in and you can change it from listing for sale if you have a lease, any of that nature, but we're going to keep it as purchase. Status, you can change it to pre-offer. It's totally up to you if you want to do that. Once it's under contract, if you guys don't already change it to under contract as far as the status, I'll go in and change it to under contract. If you at some point are not able to find a loop that's closed, it's because I've archived it. And if you don't archive it, all of your loops will stay up. And so it can get a little overwhelming if you have a lot of loops. So then we're going to hit view loop. And this is going to document or populate everything already in the loop. Okay. So this is already documents that we've pre-populated for you that you'll need. Your buyer agents, info for buyer. These are just informational documents for your buyer. Then overview of the home buying and selling process, protect your family from lead, inspection contingency just explains it's a brochure, and then the title and survey brochure. And then you have your agency docs. These are required. Your buyer agency agreement, and then the required buyer docs. So these are all of the disclosures, things in that nature that have to be signed. These have to be signed per property that a buyer writes on. And then we have the sale offer, that everything you would need. The sales contract, if you get to the point you have a counter offer, an amendment, all of your loan writers that you would need, an appraisal writer, FHA, all of this information. Okay. Then you have a miscellaneous folder. We add documents to within the process, your inspections, receipts folder. So that's kind of an overview of what populates from the template. The other, I'm going to kind of go back and forth here a little bit.
On that template, are you going to go over like archiving
say it's not an FAQ.
Yes,
it's not-
I will, yeah.
I go through and I delete all mine, I don't leave.
Yes. So Kathy talks a lot in the meetings about having clauses, like the escalation clause, things in that nature. And I get a lot of texts from agents, where do I find that? So unfortunately, you have to grab that before you get into the loop and then copy and paste it. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna go up here, it looks like kind of a piece of paper where it says templates. You click that, and then there's all sorts of information here. There's documents, and it's going to be under clauses. So we have all of these pre-populated clauses for you. Seller to provide a clear gas inspection. Here's the escalation clause. Buyer agrees to pay above highest competing offer. So essentially what you're going to do is you're just going to highlight that clause, copy and paste it, and then you're going to go to your loop and put it into the offer where you want it in. So that's where you
I
find
pull it
those.
From my loop.
Huh?
Kendall taught me how to pull it from my loop. Like once I'm in my loop,
Okay.
but I don't remember.
I'll
Well, I've
look,
only used the escalation clause
I'll
once
look
so far
into
this
it.
year.
I mean, it's the escalation, but it's auto-populated on mine, like when I start to put seller or buyer agrees,
Yes,
like.
it
mine
will? All
auto-populates,
right, well,
mine
let's,
auto-populates.
I did not realize that, so we'll go back.
Try that.
So the other thing is documents. So if you have, say you need a document for some reason, like you need an amendment, what you're going to do is you're going to come down here to St. Louis Association, click on that, and all of the documents that are in the St. Louis board are right here. So if you go up to search, I mean, amendments right there at the second one, but say you need amendment, just type in amendment and it's going to bring up all of the amendments. Anything that has amendment in the name, okay? Make sense?
Okay.
Okay. So I'm gonna go back to loop.
Yeah. So,
And I don't know where my loop went now.
absolutely.
So if you're not seeing a loop, it could possibly be because there's a filter. So right here, there's a filter applied. You can filter to what loops that you see.
I've had all my archives.
Yeah. So I'm gonna undo this and then here's my loop that I did. So I'm gonna click on that.
Yeah, it did work.
It did work?
Yeah, I just.
Okay,
did buyer
We'll look
agrees.
at that then, because I was not aware of that. I thought you had to go to clauses and
Me too.
all that stuff, so.
That's excellent. That's good to know.
So I'm going to pass these out.
I think it's a good idea to just read through all these.
Yeah, that way you know.
Yeah, just make sure we're familiar with them. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so for a long time, we have not had the autofill availability or auto-populate availability on the sales contract. And it's because we've made those adjustments to like page 9 of the sales contract. So we've automatically just had to fill everything in. I have made your guys' life so easy. From this day moving forward, writing an offer should not be an issue for anybody. Anybody should be able to come in and write an offer, especially like you've never written an offer, you've never written an offer. I don't know how else to help you guys. So essentially there's one of two ways that you can enter the information. So I've made a little, some people are checklist paper people, some people are not. So if you choose to use this, great. If you choose not to use this,
We should pay you for that.
shame on you, because you should be using this. So essentially the first page, is this on Zoom right now? Or what is this doing?
StreamYard, it's recorded.
Okay, so this is the document. I don't know if you can see it or not. This is a checklist. So essentially, any information that you put here is going to be input into Dootloop. And I'll show you one of two ways to do it. So you're going to enter in your buyer name, email. I mean, it literally tells you everything. The property address. So up here, I have add seller as a person in Dootloop. And even though you don't have their email address, you can still add their name to the loop, assign them as their role to be seller, and then their names will auto-populate on the sales contract, any amendment that you do, anything in that nature. And you can always go to the tax records to get the sellers and for their name and everything. The property address, you can, if it's a listed property, you can enter in, all of that stuff. Municipality and county, check the tax records, because MLS, what an agent puts in on the MLS could not be correct for the municipality. Sometimes they make a mistake. And then you're going to enter all of this information, your purchase price, your earnest amount. And this is just kind of a guide for what you're going to put into Dootloop. So there's one of two ways to do this. The first way is if you go up to your loop name and you click on the loop name. It's going to bring up kind of your informational loop info is going to bring that up. So you can add all of your people right here. You, the agent, are already on it. Me as the TC are on it, and Kathy's already on it, and an admin. And then all you have to do is hit add person, and we are going to add Curtis. He's going to be the buyer. You have to make sure their email. And when you add a person, make sure if it's Rob, he goes by Rob, but it's Robert, or Rick, Richard, make sure you are adding their name as how they will sign it, how they want to be listed on the sales contract. If they're a junior, if they're a senior, if they're, the third or however, just make sure you ask that information up front, because that's how they sign the documents and how their name will appear on all of the documents. Okay. And so then, and it's easy enough that an amendment can be done, but if we can get that up front and not have to do that, then it makes, it's a little bit better. Over here, you can select the role. There's lots of roles in here, but Curtis is going to be the buyer today. And then this is where you can enter all of the information. His phone number, his cell phone. I think I'll have to look, but I think I might have it connected to cell phone. What's your cell phone?
314-598-1101.
Not that we needed the real, but we'll see. So you never want to add somebody to the team, because then that gives them access to everything in the loop. So especially like the agent on the other side or anything in that nature, okay? So we're going to add Curtis. And then Paula is going to be our seller. And I don't know Paula's email address or anything, so we're just going to add her as the seller. And then her information will come through. So we did away with the client profile sheet where you entered kind of all of this information, selected where your lead was from, so on. So there's an area right here that says a lead source. Where did this lead originate? Plain and simple. You put where the lead came from. If it was a Zillow lead, if it was a personal lead, if it, past client, whatever, this is where you put that information. Okay. Property address. If it's a listed property, if you just start typing in the address, Paula gave me an address of 5548 Chestnut. Augusta, Missouri. So it came up. I'm going to click that and I'm going to import data. So it automatically comes in here and it fills it out. Now the two things that it does not fill in is the municipality. What would you?
Augusta's phase one.
No, the municipality.
Oh, municipality.
So we're going to, that's all right, we're going to go to Maris and we are going to double check what the municipality is.
Augusta.
So here is the listing. We're going to go to tax records to double check what the municipality is. And it is Augusta. So we're going to go back to Dootloop and we're going to type in Augusta. You don't need to worry about the MLS number is going to automatically populate because you imported that data. You don't need to put in the tax ID. So essentially, the next information is everything that is on this sheet right here. You are literally just going to fill this information out. So the purchase price, I don't know what it was listed for, but we're going to do 500. What?
339.
We'll do 400,000. Our earnest money is going to be 5,000. We're going to close at Arch City Title. Earnest money to be delivered in number of days. The default is 3, so we're going to put 3. Our loan commitment date, we are going to do 10/7.
Quick question.
Yeah.
If it says 10 days, if nothing entered, do you just don't enter?
So this is what this is. So I like to have it filled that way. It's no questions asked.
Right.
So everybody's on the same page. We know, what our deadlines and stuff are. So that's why it has on here default is 3 days. So on your paper, it says loan amount percentage or loan amount dollar. So it's one or the other. It's not both. It's either, so say they're going to put 20% down, you either do 80% or you calculate what the 80% is of the purchase price and put that information. So whatever's easiest for you.
I like to do percentage personally because
If the amount-
if you're going back and forth as far as negotiations,
Yes.
that number's going to change
Yep.
all over, but the percentage won't change.
Right. So we're going to do 80%. The interest rate not to exceed, we're going to do 4. The term of the loans, we're going to do 30. Closing cost, it's either a percentage or a dollar amount. If your buyer is not requesting closing costs, then leave that information blank. You don't have to do anything there.
Typically, though, 1% or right, or $1,000 per 100,000.
For closing cost, yeah.
No, for
Earnest money?
earnest.
Yeah, earnest money is typically 1% of the purchase price. So then we're going to come down here to the contract dates. We're going to do the contract date that we're writing the contract is today. We're going to select a closing date of 10/14. Possession time, we're going to do,
Ask a quick question. What is a good period to say closing date? 30 days, 20 days?
you need to ask your lender.
Your lender with
Okay.
Lenders right, typically some are going at
30 to 45 days, yeah. So your possession time, title survey days, it says typically 25 days, so we're gonna put 25. Inspection days, typically 10. We're gonna do 10. We're gonna do our typical. Our resolution is, the default is 10. Insurability 10. Municipality is 15. Number of persons occupying, we're gonna do 6. Offer expiration time, we're gonna do 8 p.m. tonight.
I go back to the bedrooms. I've always gone by how many bedrooms times 2. So if it's a 3-bedroom, I'll put 6 people. If it's a 2-bedroom, I put 4.
Okay.
I've always gone bedroom because that's usually what most municipalities are looking for. Is that right? Just my own in my own head.
I don't have a right or wrong answer for that. Kathy would be a. on
Usually
top of-
max out 2 per bedroom.
I know Megan Stiefner a lot of the times will put legal maximum. Like she doesn't put a number, she'll just put legal maximum.
Yeah.
So we're gonna fill all of that information in. Referral, you don't have to fill that in unless you have a referral that you're paying out. And the property information was just brought in from Maris. So then we're gonna hit save. So all of that information is saved into your loop now. So we're gonna go back to loop. And now it's time we're gonna write the contract. So before, when you wrote the contract, your autofill box did not pop up. It just went straight to the sales contract. So now your autofill box pops up, okay? So this was the other way that you can input this information. So you can do it the way we just did it, or you can go straight to the sales contract, bring up the sales contract, and now your autofill box is gonna pop up. So whatever's easiest for you to do that. But this is really kind of the no-brainer way to write a contract now.
Mhm.
Like it makes no sense because once I hit fill, you guys are, it's there.
That's awesome.
This eliminates a lot of the waiting time, right?
The what
A
thing?
lot of the waiting time while you're waiting, because that, would you say it takes sometimes up to 30 days for them? Well, for this stuff, or for you to get this information here. What can you tell me?
Yeah, so essentially, the reason why we've never had this is because you have to have .loop, because we've made edits to that contract to send it to .loop. Sometimes they're like 2-3 months out before they can get this done. And so I started digging on Tuesday, And I chatted with somebody late Tuesday night on Dootloop chat, and she said, yeah, you can make a template yourself. So then I figured it out, and
That's awesome. Plus you're not thinking, God, did I forget something?
so let's go in. We've done all of this. We've entered all of our information, and we're gonna go down and we're gonna hit autofill. Your contract is filled out.
That's so cool.
So now
Tell me proof.
we go to this document.
We'll see, I'll be ready to contract later.
Okay.
this week.
Now we go to this document. This literally is your checklist. Okay. So now everything that you've entered into that initial area is auto-populated. I would still double check it because you could have typed something incorrectly, or you can always still go in and change it. So I definitely wouldn't be like, "Oh, I'm done. Let's move on to checking boxes now." I still would double check everything. But
What I did when I first started was I took a blank sales contract and I highlighted all of these in yellow. And then I would put it next to where I was writing a contract. I would double check and make sure, okay, that's highlighted. That's something I have to fill out and make sure that I don't mess all the way through until I wrote a few and got it familiar. Yeah, I highlighted.
So that's kind of what this sheet is now.
exactly.
So
That's
essentially,
the
so the first one is lines 28 to 29. Enter any inclusions. So if you want to include the refrigerator, the pool table, whatever, you're going to enter in that information on lines 28, 29. If you're excluding anything, you're going to enter in 30, 31. You're literally just going to go down. And I even have it to the point where you need to check the box for earnest money. Don't forget to check that,
Can we put this in KHG templates? So we can pull it down while we're in the loop?
What do you mean? You want that in the loop?
Well, yeah, so,
Well, here's my thing though. If you have this in the loop,
Mhm.
when you go to enter the information in, it's going to be on your computer and you're not going to be able to see it.
well, I would print it out.
Well, yeah, I can.
Okay.
And we can also make copies and give you guys, if you want 25 of these, and then
I'd
you.
really like for it to be somewhere, we're going to templates and it
Just
says.
so-
Yeah, no,
it says
yeah,
St.
we can
Louis or
definitely, yep,
KHG,
we can do
and
that.
I can just go in and print it out.
Yeah,
It'll be
that's,
right there.
yeah, I can do that. That's no big deal. So anyway, so you're literally just going to go use your checklist now, and you're going to go line by line of the contract. You're going to check received for delivery. Does everybody know the difference, received for delivery or to be delivered?
To be delivered.
So 9 times out of 10, it's going to be to be delivered, unless you physically have the check in your hand to deliver to the title company, okay? The buyer's initials are already there for them to initial. Now you need to check if you're contingent on financing or not.
So if there's only one buyer on the loan, we still need to go through and delete
each
the
one.
second one, right?
No, because if there's not a buyer assigned to it, if there's only one buyer, it'll just assign them to that buyer spot.
Because I had one where when I first started where she was able to sign both spots, but I didn't know when to remove. It allowed her to click on both. She clicked, twice. And she was
Okay.
single. So then I realized like, oh, I gotta
So
go
then,
check
yeah,
that
if there is one buyer, I'll look into that though.
No biggie.
Yeah, I'll look into that.
It's still easier now.
out. Yeah, well, click on
I
remove
assign
it.
them anyway, because that way when there's two,
Yeah, so
I
if you go here, it says
Yeah.
can't be signed by buyer. Yeah, it does say they can click on both of them. Yeah. So you would have to go, well, we can,
Physically unassigned.
you have to unassign it, yeah. And all you do to do that is you click on one of them, and up here at the X, you remove the field. That's all you do.
Gone.
And it's gone. So now you're gonna go and you're gonna select the loan type and the rate type. And this is the box you would check if your buyer is requesting closing cost. Here is your possession time. You're either gonna click closing or you're gonna specify a time. I know a lot of agents will click closing. And if you click closing, if it doesn't fund, so closing means when it's funded. So if it doesn't fund, then
If you punch 3 o'clock that day and it doesn't fund, you still can't take possession though.
I know.
So
So it's kind of and it looks like you only need to enter either the P or the A because the N's already there. And then you need to go down and you need to select your writers that you're attaching to the sales contract. And then you can delete your buyer initial. I only added the box to check for buyer to order and provide title. I very rarely does the seller ever pay for title, unless it's a very rare circumstance. And at that point, you can add a checkbox and check it.
She automatically have that checked on there.
I don't have it automatically checked, but there's only that box to check.
I understand.
So then if there's just one buyer, erase that. Home warranty, you'll need to check your boxes. And I have on here, no home warranty, check the box on line 217. If the buyer is requesting a home warranty, check box on line 219. I even have the HSA pricing there for you guys. 505 for basic, 654 for basic plus 7-star upgrade. If they're going with a different home warranty company, then you have to enter in that information.
And that would be on the seller's disclosure. They're automatically.
And then if we're ordering, if we're doing a home warranty, put the buyer agent to order. And then I'll take care of ordering that for you guys. Insurability 10, municipality 5, all of that. Special agreements. Okay, so this is where you said we could add.
But just click in buyer agrees
Buyer
to.
agrees, it should auto-populate.
Okay.
Auto-populate.
So lesson learned, yeah. So if you know
The first
what
words.
if you know the first words of that clause that we want to enter, then you can do that. So let's do seller. There you go, seller to provide clear. Great. Okay, awesome.
That's
Good.
cool.
Good note. I did not know that,
Yeah,
so
'cause
I
started typing
I
while was
learned
doing mine,
something
like,
today too. Okay, great. So we'll do that. You need to check your box for your seller's disclosure. Check one of the 3 boxes. Either your buyer has read it and initialed it, the seller is going to be providing it within 1 day, or there is no seller's disclosure. So you guys still have to check that. Buyer relationship. So this is for the listing agent. Refer to Maris on how they are representing the seller. 9 times out of 10, it's a designated agent, but it could be different. If they are,
Selling agent sometimes.
if they are, have a personal interest in the property, if it's their property or it's their brother's property or something, that should be listed in Maris. And then you can fill that information in. On assisting the buyer, there's only 2 boxes for you to check. Dual agent, which means if Experienced Realty Partners, it has the seller and the buyer, or designated agent. 9 times out of 10, you're going to be the designated agent. Okay. And then if you have personal interest in the contract as well. So if mom's buying a property or you're buying a property or whatever. Line 409, Donna. I automatically selected the box for seller. The seller always pays the commission unless it's FSBO or whatever, and then we can.
So on a lot of ours, it's seller and buyer.
Yes.
Is that
So on here, on your little form, it says the box is already checked for seller to pay the commissions. If you are charging your buyer a transaction fee on the buyer agency agreement, you have to check the box for the buyer because that is considered additional compensation commission. It doesn't go directly to you. It's the brokerage fee, but you have to check that buyer box. If you're not charging your buyer transaction fee, you don't check it. And then it comes out of your split or your cut. Okay. And then page 9, sales the last page. It is kind of nice for you to go ahead and fill in the information for the listing side. You can get that information from Maris. The brokerage name, their license number, any of that information. You have to fill in your printed name, your license number. If you don't know your license number, it's in Maris. You can find that under yourself. Put your date, and then look, you already have the buyer's name and you already have the seller's name. And then you save it and share it. Okay? So I don't know how I can make it any easier for you guys to write an offer. We're auto-populating the contract. All you have to do is enter that information, and then this literally is a checklist for you guys to go and make sure boxes are checked.
I like your contracts for dummies.
That's gonna make your life easier.
So in the back end, yes, maybe it's making my life a little bit
So we do it
easier.
right, it's less for you to do.
And I don't know about you guys, but when, as a listing agent, if you get a sales contract that is totally jacked up from a buyer agent, do you think, what the hell? Like, they didn't check this, they didn't check that, like,
Mhm.
you know, so it makes us as a brokerage look that much better too. So essentially, yes, it's Dootloop training, but it's also contracts for dummies. You can't mess it up. So anyway, so that's what that is. But then you have to make sure that you go in and you fill out any writers, you know, your appraisal writer or whatever writer. You need to make sure you add the seller's disclosure if that's applicable, the lead-based paint if that's applicable, any other disclosure, then that has to be on you guys to add to the loop. So essentially, let's say this is, I did it as conventional. So we don't need the FHA writer to the sales contract. So we're going to go over here to these 3 dots right here. We're going to click that and we're going to hit archive. Bam, it's gone. It doesn't delete it. You cannot delete anything in Dootloop. You can only archive it. And if you archive something accidentally, you can get it back. It's not the end of the world that you accidentally archive the wrong document. So my word of advice is when you're writing the offer and you've done your writers or whatever, go in and archive every other document that you don't need. That way you don't accidentally send everything in the folder to the listing agent. Okay.
I've got offers on my listings from other agents and I'm like, it's got everything.
Yeah.
Right.
So go ahead and just archive those. So it cleans up the loop for you. It's not so cumbersome of you're seeing 50 documents. And if by chance you get an accepted contract and it falls apart, there's automatically a buyer's mutual release in the sale offer folder. And it's going to be the same thing. It has the earnest money in there. You autofill it. You just have to fill in, I don't know why the sale contract date. So we'll have to figure that out, and see, it kind of jacked up it didn't fill out Gundaker, but so there's definitely some things that you have to make sure you're double checking, but it's automatically there.
And the really important one, which is the contract.
Yeah. So, because obviously we don't want to see mutual releases come through. So the other thing, okay, so the little kind of bubble with the 3 dots up here, that's notes. So it's kind of a communication, kind of an email system within Dootloop. You can send a note to anybody that's in the loop. So if I want to send, that's kind of how I send you guys notes right now. So if I want to send you a note, be like, hey, you know, where are we at with this or something in that nature, you're going to get it. It's going to pop up in Dootloop, and then you're also going to get an email with it. So it's both. But anybody can see those notes. So don't go bad mouthing me to somebody else because I'm going to see it. No, I'm kidding. So anybody, just be aware that anybody can see those notes. And then up here, activity log. So this is anything, you can see anything that happens in the loop. So you can see when a document is sent. So if I say I sent a document and you're like, no, you didn't, I'll go to the activity, you know, a lot of the times, and that's a good way also to track the inspection notice. When you submit the inspection notice to the listing agent, it's kind of a real-time thing. You can see when it was submitted, and then also obviously follow it up with an email or a text and so on. But if you happen to have an email address typed into Dootloop for that person, either your buyer or the listing agent or whatever, it will show in here, like, say I've sent an amendment to the buyer or to the other side, the other agent, 10 times, and he continues to say, I'm not getting it. I'll go to the activity log, and if it's rejected, if say the email address is not typed in there incorrectly, it's going to say there was an error. So if worst case scenario is if you're sending something to somebody and they're saying they're not getting it, it either went to their spam or we have their email address typed into Dootloop incorrectly, and that's why. Okay, so that is that.
Can you go over the submit for review?
That's okay. Yep, that's on a listing. So if you guys have a listing, the only thing, so on a sale offer, you don't need to submit anything for review because I'm already kind of in it anyway, because I've sent it to title and all of that. But as far as for a listing, we want to essentially submit those signed listing documents for compliance review. So essentially it's kind of covering us hopefully before the property goes live. That way we make sure we have everything correct in the loop. So all you're going to do is go up here to submit for review. And this is a buyer loop, so it's not going to show, but it will show listing folder or listing docs, I think. I don't even remember whatever the folder is that the listing documents are in. You're going to select that folder. That's all you do. Click that and submit. And then it comes to me, and then I get a notification in my email, and then I go in and I check it for compliance. Okay. The send earnest request, that's something new. I've dabbled in that, but I don't know if that's something that's going to hit the St. Louis market. Right now, it's just a check to Arch City, or we can do trust funds through MLS. So just kind of ignore that right now. So say you accidentally archive something and you're like, oh crap, I need to get that back. I don't know how to get it. Up here, it's show archived. And so it's going to bring everything that you've archived into that specific folder. So say I accidentally archived the FHA writer and I really need it. All you're going to do is come over here and hit unarchive, and it'll bring it back. Okay.
Can you go over, like, when you do share, like, when I send people things and I keep forgetting that it's not view only or
Yep.
just can
Yep.
sign.
Okay, so if you're going to share a document, you can do it one of two ways. If you're going to share a list, multiple documents with your buyer. So I'm going to share the contract, the appraisal writer with my buyer. So I'm going to select those two documents. And then I'm going to go up to the top and I'm going to hit share.
So when I share it to another agent, I always do it as a PDF.
So do I.
Yes.
That's why.
So here,
Frustrating on the other end.
I'm sending it, Curtis is my buyer, and you have different options. You can do view only, which is what I would suggest when you're sending a signed document to the other agent. View only, that way they cannot make any changes into your document. Can sign, which is obviously what we want our buyer to do. Can fill and sign is when mainly it's used on the listing side when they need to complete the seller's disclosure, or that's how I send the TRID seller letter to them to complete. Can fill and sign. Can edit in private, I never use. So those are your options. And then attached to PDF. So when they get the email, if they don't use Dootloop, if they use another system, when you send it to them, they're going to get an email, and then they're going to have that attachment at the bottom of their email. I wish there was a way that we could default that box to be checked all the time, but there's not. So, and then all you do is hit share. So if I have, if Curtis and Kim are both on here, I'm going to pick both of them. And then it doesn't go to one and then go to the other. It goes to both of them at the same time. Okay. Any other questions?
I have a question. So I have a listing, and when I start getting offers, and then they're just emailing it to me as a PDF, then am I able to bring it into Dootloop and add the signatures for my?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So when you have your listing, my suggestion is, say you have 5 offers. You need to make a folder for every single offer. And I would label them, whatever's easiest for you. You could do the buyer's name, the agent's name, however, but make a folder for every single offer that you receive. And then at the top, you can there is a way to add a folder. So if you, well, why isn't it? I'll help you with that, Donna. There is a way to
Can you download it to the desktop?
add a folder.
Usually it's an entire,
Yeah, and you can only add PDFs to Dootloop. You cannot add a JPEG, you cannot add a Word document, you can only add PDFs. So if you do receive, say for instance, on any loop, on anything, you receive a receipt that's a Word document from a repair, you have to save it as a PDF and then put it into Dootloop. You cannot add a Word document to Dootloop.
and then that loop will
Oh,
tell
right
you.
here it is, add folder, Donna.
Oh, okay.
So what you would click add folder, and then you could name it. So let's just do offer 1. And then you would, if you have that offer saved on your desktop, you would hit browse, and then you would find the offer and then add it in and do the same exact thing for every other offer that you receive. So then it's the same thing as, let me see if I have, I don't know what this, it's a residential sales contract. I'm just going to use this as an example to show you. So I'm going to load that, and then once it's loaded, it will save to the loop. Saving, and then I'm going to click it. Okay, let's pretend this is a completed offer. This is an offer that your seller is going to accept. You have to go in, your seller has to initial every single page of the sales contract. So you'll have to come up here and hit add, initial, and then assign field. And then you're going to go up here and you're going to select your seller. Both sellers. If there's just a seller, then it would just be 1. You have to do that for every single page. Okay. And then on page 9, you're going to do the same thing for the seller. If the buyer agent hasn't filled out your information, you're going to have to add the fields to add in experienced realty partners, the signature, all of that good stuff.
If you, let's say if you don't know your ID number, like I know mine, 201300427. If you don't know that, if you don't know it, I would double check to make sure they have been there, right?
Yeah. And then you'll just have to come up and add signature and place your signature, assign it, and then make sure you also put their printed name. Now, if they're going to reject it or they're going to counter it, then they don't sign it and then they just initial. Okay, and then that goes for you'll have to do that for if they have an appraisal writer or whatever, you'll have to do that.
Okay, so everyone that is going to be rejected, we have to reject.
You're supposed to.
You should.
It's weird that I get up that way, but
I've asked for it back before just because, then it proves that the agent presented it to the seller. So yeah.
Because I had buyers make offers that got rejected and I didn't.
Right. So yeah. And if you need help with that when you go live and get offers.
We are live now.
Okay. So, questions? Anybody?
good stuff.
No, good stuff.
Two
Thank
thumbs
you for
up.
that.
So,
Appreciate it.
no problem.
Thanks for putting the time in on that.
Yes.
So I will get this into Dootloop. That way you guys have it. And I can make little check boxes beside this if you want, or you can just print it and check it, however you guys want to do it. I just want to try to make it as easy as possible for you guys to write an offer. And I feel like that's an easy way. Now, if are you writing an offer today? Is that what you said?
No, probably tomorrow. I'm
okay.
gonna put in listing today.
Okay. So, and feedback is welcomed. Like if you see something that, hey, we need to change this, or can we add this or do this, please tell me, because I want to make it as easy as possible for you guys in writing offers and stuff like that. So I don't have anything done for the special sales contract yet. it's very rare that we use those. So, you know, if time allows, I'll try to get that. I've also, this will autofill on the buyer agency agreement. It will fill on the required buyer docs. So you guys don't have to go in and see, look, autofill. You don't have to type in the address anymore. You don't have to type in your buyer's name anymore. It auto populates for you. And here again, if you only have one buyer, go in and delete that second buyer signature. But everything's auto populated right there for you. So trying to streamline, make it easy for you guys. That way it's not dreadful to write an offer. So, and then it just saves me on the end, you know, on the back end, once you guys do have an accepted contract, from having to correct, you know, boxes that were missed being checked. Or the biggest thing that I can say is the municipality, 9 times out of 10, that is one that is incorrect on 9 times out of 10 sales contracts. So just check Maris, check the tax records. Yep.
And I know a lot of agents, they don't fill the full name of the street out.
Yes, and I also,
Tax records.
yeah, I had that on here too. Make sure you have the complete address. I had one yesterday that was submitted, and in Maris, it had the number. I don't want to call the agent out, but it had the number, and then it had the street, but it was missing the lane. So, and I don't blame the buyer agent, because they went off of what the listing agent had in Maris, but we were forgetting the lane. And if there's a lender, the lender is going to want that. The title company is going to want the address correct. So that's why, you know, just double check the tax records for that, and then double check the tax records for the municipality, and we should be golden. As long as you guys follow this. If you choose not to, that's fine by me. More power to you if you can, you know, wing through a contract and get it out there. But you know, this is to essentially ensure that you're not going to miss any boxes or anything in that nature.
Plus a big time saver.
I would think so too, because then you're not scrolling through the sales contract and, oh, did I check that box, and oh, did I check that, and oh, what did I put here? Because the closing date is really in two spots, right? I don't remember. No, it's in one spot. No, the title company name is in 2 spots.
That's correct.
That's what I was thinking. So the title company name is in 2 spots. So you're not, you know, you think you might have put it there, you might not have put it there. If you just put it on up front, it's automatically going to be there for you.
So I would say that the only thing that maybe to see it, number of people that occupy residence.
I have that on there.
You do have it on,
Yep.
okay, I missed it.
I do. Yeah, it's on this sheet. So yeah.
Awesome.
So that's what I have.
What's the easiest way to check tax records? You go online somewhere to check?
So when you have access to Maris,
Mhm.
on the listing, and we can go through that, the tax records are on the listing.
Okay.
So I can show you where to find that at. Okay.
I'm making copies of this. I love using checks.
I will, yeah.
And you can get that into,
Yes, I will get this
Archived.
I will get this into Dootloop. That way you guys have it. I'll just make it one file. That way you can print, you know, however you want to do it. I'll have paper copies here at the office. If you want those, we can always make copies for you. But yeah, that's all I got.
Movie star.
Now we have no reason to say.
That's
That
right.
is my hope. I just want to make you guys better.